Hello, and welcome to Sinister, where we tell you 3 dark and interesting stories a week. If you want to know more about the format of the show, you can check out the video trailer on this channel's homepage. If you like the show, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you always know when a new episode airs. You can also leave a comment with your thoughts on the show or a suggested topic. Thanks again, and enjoy the show. Rope is a versatile tool. You can climb it, you can tie something down. You can use it to secure yourself when you're in a precarious position. It comes in all sizes and can even be made from a wide variety of materials. But just because you can use rope to do a lot of good, it doesn't mean it can't be used for something sinister. The earliest known reference to a person being hanged is in Book 22 of Homer's Odyssey. 12 disloyal maids are strung up until their feet stop moving. The first person to be hanged is unknown, likely having happened long before any recorded history. A rope-like device in a tree would be all that was needed to carry out a killing in this manner. That's probably why it's one of the oldest known methods of execution. It likely emerged in prehistoric times as a variation of strangulation. It's believed that the Vikings used hanging as both punishment and for human sacrifice. It was to honor Odin's sacrifice when he hung himself from the world tree Yggdrasil. Germanic Anglo-Saxons brought hanging as punishment to Britain in the 5th century CE. Many people think the Romans introduced the execution method to British shores, but they actually preferred crucifixion as a means of execution. The more you know. But the Anglo-Saxons used hanging only for serious crimes. They executed traitors, brutal murderers, and arsonists. If you murdered someone and it wasn't deemed brutal, you wouldn't be headed to the gallows. Back then, most killings were settled through wergild, which translates to man price. That system worked like the blood money practice in Islamic Sharia law. Each person's value and body parts had specific prices. Killers paid that compensation to their victim's family. William the Conqueror tried to change execution practices in England after the Norman conquest in 1066. His 10th law stated that no one should die for any crime. Offenders faced blinding and castration instead. In spite of that, William kept hanging as punishment for murder. That change showed an early effort to limit capital punishment while keeping its deterrent effect for serious crimes. When Henry I took power in 1100, he undid many previous reforms and brought back hangings for many crimes. The Bloody Code emerged as Britain's capital punishment system expanded dramatically through the 18th century. That legal framework designated an astonishing 222 crimes as death penalty offenses. British law became one of Europe's harshest penal systems during that period. Medical experts and executioners spent the 19th century making hanging methods better. They wanted to make capital punishment more humane and precise. Saxons brought the short drop method to England in the 5th century. That method stayed the same until 1872. The process was simple. People were suspended with almost no drop. Executioners would place them on a cart, stool, or ladder and remove the support. Death was slow and happened through strangulation. Victims would struggle for several minutes. The Yorkshire Post reported a case in 1877 where a man struggled for 4 minutes after the drop. An Irish doctor, Samuel Houghton, published research about a more humane approach in 1866. He called it the standard drop that needed a fall of 4 to 6 feet or 1.2 to 1.8 meters. That led to the long drop method that William Marwood brought to Britain in 1872. The long drop was more scientific. Rope length calculations depended on the prisoner's weight and height. After 1913, it delivered about 1,000 foot-pounds of force, enough to break the neck without taking the head off. Though scientists worked hard to improve hanging methods, problems with execution equipment continued. The reliability and humanity of capital punishment came under scrutiny due to failed hangings. A remarkable event took place at Exeter Prison on February 23, 1885. John Lee, who faced death for murdering Emma Keyes, survived 3 hanging attempts because the support's trapdoor wouldn't open. James Barry, the executioner, tested the equipment carefully before the execution, but it failed only when Lee was standing on it. The test weights dropped through normally, which added to the mystery. Some believe a prisoner had slipped a wooden wedge into the mechanism. The medical officer refused to proceed further, so Home Secretary Sir William Harcourt changed Lee's sentence to life in prison. Lee walked free in 1907 after serving 22 years. Hanging was gradually replaced with newer methods of execution. Hanging as a punishment for murder was suspended in the UK in 1965, and it was made permanent in 1969. Then it was abolished for everything else in 1998. Most countries in Europe have completely abolished the death penalty since then. Hanging in the United States declined as other methods of execution became more popular, but hanging remained legal until surprisingly recent. The last hanging happened in 1996, but the only state that still has hanging as a secondary form of capital punishment is New Hampshire. So whether you're on a boat, work in construction, or are working on a merit badge in knots, rope can definitely be your friend. It's just only after you do the unthinkable that that same rope might hang you out to dry. Thanks so much for letting us tell you this sinister story. If you like the show, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you always know when a new episode airs. You can also hit like or leave a comment with your thoughts about the show or a suggestion for an episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week where we'll tell you about something sinister.